When shooting portrait photos, one of the most invaluable tools in our kit is the flash. Now, flash is really convenient, it's lightweight, it's portable, it gives us an even source of illumination, which is a constant colour temperature. So it's a very valuable tool when it comes to portrait photos, although as many of you will know, when it comes to flash, often the results we get are quite harsh and unflattering. So what I've assembled here for you today is a selection of tools that will help you overcome this. So first what we're going to look at is the built-in flash on your camera. Now this is convenient, it's lightweight, it's always with us, and the only catch with these of course is that the look that it gives can be somewhat undesirable. Now you'll be pleased to note that our modelling budget has increased dramatically versus previous videos, so you'll see a dramatic improvement there. Now from the example you'll see with the built-in flash, the look that it gives can be somewhat flat, harsh, washed out. The shadows in the background behind the ears and the likes can be very defined, and it's not really particularly flattering at all. So that's what you get with built-in flash. The other thing you'll find often with built-in flash is, particularly if you've got a very young subject or someone with blue eyes, they can often come back with red eye in the photograph. So this is caused by the flash being too close to the lens plane, and as the flash goes off it bounces straight back down the lens off the back of the retina and you get a red eye effect. Now this can be reduced dramatically by raising the flash up higher, which allows the light to bounce off the back of the retina and then down towards the ground. So we're not going to suffer from that red eye effect as we get our flash further away from the lens plane. Now the easiest way to do this is to go to an external flash. Now an external flash is one of these bigger type flash guns which mounts on top of the camera like so, and this gets our flash head up higher than the lens plane, so obviously we don't suffer from red eye so badly. It also gives a different look, as you'll see in the example. The shadows are pushed down. Now with a lot of subjects, if I was further away for example, that would actually push the shadows right down behind our subject so they wouldn't be distracting on the wall behind. Now it also gives more definition to the face. You'll notice as we've pushed the flash up higher, it's also given us more detail in behind the craggy lines on the face. It looks more three-dimensional. If, for example, our subject had a shiny forehead or a shiny nose, they'd been drinking, you're at a party and you're taking photos there, the only thing with this direct flash approach is that you'll often find you'll get a hot spot on the forehead, which will be a bright white area. Now, the easiest way to overcome that is to soften the light down. So the first example I've got of this is a thing called a Stoffen Omnibounce. This is a small plastic thing which pushes over the front of your external flash gun, and what this does is it softens the light down, but it's very simple to use. You just push it on, shoot away as you would normally. So it gives, as you can see from the example, it gives a softer look which is more defined. Now you'll notice in the background too that the shadows in the background are becoming less defined, so they're even less distracting than they would have been previously. The neat thing about these is they're low cost, easy to use, low maintenance. You just push them on, use them, they don't get in the way, and very popular with people doing grip and grin type stuffs at events, very popular at weddings and the likes. So easy to use, nice result. The next thing on their list is a thing called an Orbis. Now an Orbis is also used in conjunction with an external flash gun. It gives you a cheap and relatively inexpensive way into a ring light effect. Now the Orbis requires that you take off the external speed light, and the external speed light actually squeezes into the bottom of the Orbis. So this just goes in here like so. But you will also require an additional accessory called a TTL flash cable. So this device, this is the Nikon one, and this is called an SC28, and they also do a model called a 29. Canon does one called an OCE3, and Sony has one as well. Most of the major brands do. What this is required for is we slide it on top of the camera at this end, lock it in place. We slide it into the bottom of our flash, and this now allows us to put the Orbis in front and around the lens. Now what this allows us to do is give us an incredibly even illumination. So you'll see from the example that it gives a completely different look to the previous lights. Now the shadow is now pushed evenly all around the subject and also almost creates a halo effect. It defines, you'll notice that the hair on the head is far more defined than it is in previous examples. and it's very popular with fashion photographers because you can push your subject hard up against the background and you don't get that really distracting harsh shadow on the background. Really neat look, and that's the Orbis. Does require the 2 parts. Now the next thing on our list is a product made by a company called Gary Fong, and this is called a light sphere, and it's a small plastic attachment which goes on top of our external flash gun. So once again, we'll pop our external flash gun on top of the camera like so, and rather than pointing the flash head straight ahead, we will tilt it up towards the ceiling, and we'll pop this item here, the Gary Fong light sphere, up on top. Now what this does is it directs some of the light directly forward, and a lot of the light it spreads upwards in order to bounce it off a ceiling. Now this works best if you have a relatively low ceiling, preferably in white, otherwise you'll get a colour cast off the ceiling. But it gives you a really nice even illumination and essentially very little in the way of shadows. So you'll notice from the example that there's pretty much no shadows on the background. It's a nice even illumination. So that's several examples of how you can improve your flash photography, and they're all recommended picks from us here at Photo and Video.
Curious you are. Many things can Yoda teach you.